My name is Morgan Hushta, and this is my PES 1 for SSP6101 industry placement. So I did my industry placement schedule with the Youth Star Protest tournament as a sports therapist. The mission was to support players' care while developing my own practical skills. Some of the things I found valuable that I learned was professionalism, teamwork, and learning and delivering high quality care and supervision. So obviously professionalism, how I carry myself, what to wear in professional situation. Teamwork, obviously I had my supervisor Chris, working under his supervision, but also alongside Ben, who also did the Utah protest tournament as well. Obviously giving the protest players as someone being 200 in the whole world of tennis, so very, very professional players. Being able to work alongside that in such a professional environment. The vision I had for this placement was to grow as a confident sports therapist. This is by doing hands-on work. So then I'm actually learning by doing it myself. Some of the key activities or services we provided was setting up the treatment room in the morning, getting the beds booked from NIAC, bring them over, set them up, clean them down, put them down every day, and put them in the office as we were just using the women's changing room as our clinic room, as it was only a males tournament, so there wasn't any worry of women coming in and out, and there was a sign of the and then the people that we treated was not only the players, but we also treated some of the officials that came in, as obviously they sat on that high chair all day, just going back and forth, and they could sat there for hours on end. Like a tennis game doesn't have a set time for how long it is. So just an overview of the placement that I did. So once again, I was a sports therapist or massage therapist under the supervision of Chris Jenkins. He is a physiotherapist, specifically he works in rugby for many years. He actually also lectures at Cardiff Met King Coyd on the Masters Rehabilitation course. He also owns his own clinic, so you can always discuss with him privately. So he does everything really, so really well-rounded supervisor that we learned a lot from. So just our general day of what was expected of us. So we set up the treatment room, as I say. We had the consultancy beds, so we had to put them up every day, clean them down before and after each person came in. We give people pre, post and maintenance massages, all dependent on what the individual themselves wanted or felt necessary, or even what we felt necessary for them. We also observed courtside first aid, as we couldn't do it ourselves. However, it was really insightful just watching Chris himself do it, even without us doing it. As in tennis, it's very specific. If they get called onto the court, they have to decide whether the player can carry on or not. And then they have like a 3-minute window of how to treat them. So they can give them a quick massage, give them a stretch, or take them, depending on all of what Chris felt was the most suitable. And then obviously also supported the players in preparation and recovery, so that would just be on the pre or post massage. So on the placement, I developed my practical skills. I got to use them in a real life setting rather than in a lecture or a practical session, as I could physically see what was needed of me, as the person would come with me with a real life tight muscle or injury. It improved my confidence in a live tournament setting, as I've never been able to be in an actual tournament before as a sports therapist. And also this gave me a really good insight into elite athlete care. So obviously they've done lots of tournaments and had lots of different sports therapists, so it's just gaining knowledge from them of what they're used to from other sports therapists. Valuable placement experience that I felt enhanced my clinical awareness, professionalism and understanding of high performance tennis is just the tournament in general. Being able to treat each athlete individually, being able to cater specifically to their needs, their wants, and what they felt was necessary for them. Yeah. So my placement learning. So the key competencies that was required of us was strong communication, teamwork, time management, adaptability, and safe clinical practice. So obviously strong communication. We were with professional athletes, we had their parents, we had their coaches, we had other people on placement, not even just scrum, we had sports analysis, stuff like that, who we could just communicate with for such. If someone rolled their ankle, we'd be able to talk to the sports analysis to see their videos and the mechanism of their injury. Teamwork, obviously, under Chris's supervision and alongside Ben. So all had to work together as a team to make sure that the athletes got the most useful and effective treatment from us. Adaptability, obviously, being able to adapt to each person that's coming in, each athlete, each official. Obviously, the injury that the official's coming in with is not going to be the same as the athlete. Yeah, just being able to adapt my treatment to each player that is coming in. And then time management, obviously, just little things like in the morning, getting there early enough that we could set up the room. So if someone wanted myself to do their half eight start time, we could do that. The room would be set up. We'd be ready. We'd be prepared. Yeah, and even with athletes coming in, this is staggered. Obviously, everyone wanted different things. Someone could come in wanting an hour-long full body massage. Someone could come in wanting just a 10-minute massage after they've just had their sitting. So, yeah, we have to adapt to all of that. And then just safe clinical practice. Obviously, a lot of the time I've only ever had practice in the labs upstairs, the massage room. So being able to be in not like such a professional environment, clinically wise, but obviously a lot more professional with the situation I was in. Evidence of these competencies is obviously having to observe Chris, like I said earlier, his ability to identify the injury within such a short amount of time is incredible. Knowing exactly what tests you have to do, things like that sort of stuff. Working within a multidisciplinary team, like I said earlier, with the sports analysis, we parts of that, and just being able to maintain the professionalism throughout. So how I'm talking to people, how I'm portraying myself, all that sort of stuff. And for formal learning opportunities I had, it meant that I could take what I've learned from my lessons, put them into practice to see how effective they actually are. Because when we're in the scrum massage lessons, it tends to be just on a friend or fellow scrum student that doesn't necessarily have the injury, but being able to see how effective it actually can be in a real life situation is really good. And being able to see how my potential first aid that I got at the beginning of the year, how that was potentially put into practice, and my ITEC level 3. Mentoring and peer support, so getting guidance from obviously Chris, the on-site physiotherapist, through observation feedback. He would, at the end of the day, tell us whether he thought what me and Ben was doing was effective, not effective, how he would have gone about it potentially, but also being able to observe how he would do his indoor assessment with massage type skills that he would pick to use on certain requests. I found this really effective. So just for future career planning, areas of personal and professional development. I want to build more confidence in injury assessment and hands-on treatment. So like I said, being able to watch Chris be so quick with being able to diagnose an injury or being able to say what he thought the injury was, just made me want to be a lot more confident in that, as I think a lot of the time I was potentially second guessing myself with some of the things that he was doing. Improve communication in high pressure environments. I find sometimes in an environment like the pro tennis tournaments with such high level athletes, it does become quite easy to become a background employee as such. So just being a lot more confident in knowing what I'm doing in these high pressure situations, and being able to act on them a lot more effectively. Also, like I just said, developing independence in decision making, so not always having to go to the supervisor, just knowing what I'm doing is right and having that confidence in myself. So my 18 to 36 month aspiration, I want to work on my job at home for around 6 to 8 months and then go travelling for around 6 months. I also want to do some shadowing in the NHS for physio, and then I will apply for the Master's Physiotherapy register, so that I can eventually end up doing a physiotherapist. Top tips for future students that are doing the industry module, be proactive, see an opportunity, grab it, make the most of the hands-on experience. Like, you learn so much more by being in a real life setting rather than just in your lessons. Real professional relationships. Like, we ended up having a group chat with Chris, who sent in so much literature and that sort of stuff, but just building a relationship with him, like using his knowledge, was so insightful. I just been able to learn. Like, I wasn't necessarily aiming to go for a tennis tournament. Tennis isn't my thing. However, I learned so much, and it was honestly so fun, and like learning all the different things about tennis that I didn't know before. Just being in that setting was just incredible. Yeah, thank you so much for listening.